Okay, I'm on a warpath now, and I want you to really sit back now and listen to me hard, because if you attack A.L. Williams unfairly, folks, I'm going to pin your butt to the wall, okay? And I'm not going to let Consumer Report get away with what they're doing to A.L. Williams, even though they attack the industry 100 times more, okay? I don't give a crap, okay? They were not right. They were not objective in what they said about A.L. Williams, like many other articles, okay? Now, I don't even consider this a mountain. I want you to know that. This is not as bad an article as been written about us in the past. It's not going to hurt us, you know. I'm not worried. But, I mean, it just bothers me more than I can tell you, okay? And so I'm not going to say this is a mountain to climb. I don't want to make too big a thing out of this, okay? But I want to make sure, folks, that every RVP covers this with everybody. I don't want nobody in A.L. Williams to go out there and get blindsided by this, okay? Now, this is the July issue, and it's not going to be out for another week or so now, but you try to go out and get these things off your stand, okay? It's going to be great sales material in this and great training material for you, okay? Now, there were a lot of real positive things in this issue, and I just have the guts of it right here. I'm going to go over it with you. I'm going to take some time on this now, so don't you get sleepy on me. You keep your dadgum ears plugged in, okay? Number one, for the second time, they say very bold and clear in here that they've recommended term insurance for 50 years, okay? In fact, in the first report, some of the guys are telling me out there that they just use this like you can't believe. Not supposed to use it in sales. Every time I say that, I get a little lump in my throat. But anyway, they take the first issue, the June issue, and they underline this where they've recommended term insurance for 50 years, and then they go over here to the dadgum charts, and we're number one in Millico, that's us, right? And they say, man, I'm tearing it up like you can't believe, best thing we ever had, right? And then we come along with this thing now, and they say it again, we've recommended term for 50 years. They say in here that for most consumers, now put me back on here, now they put this in writing, now same thing, they've learned something from us, okay? But they say, look, the choice is this for the consumer. You can go out there and buy $200,000 of whole life, you know, the July issue is whole life, they're going to do oh crap, the whole life. They're going to do universal life in the August issue, okay? They say you can go buy $200,000 of whole life, and this is their numbers, for $2,000 or $3,000, or you can buy $200,000 of term for $250. These are their figures. Now, that's on the front page of the new one, okay? Now, that's the choice. Now, we think for most people, this is the only way to go. Well, that's a pansy way to say it. It ain't good, the better way to go for most people. It's the better way to go for everybody, right? But Consumer Reports is like most of those organizations out there. They ain't got those round things, you know? So that's pretty important. Number three, they say they got a chart in there that shows that, you know, with whole life, you level your premiums out, the stupidity of permanent protection. They got a chart in there that shows, put me back on the machine now, that the price of whole life, you know, stays level, the premiums, and they show term, you know, ART going up, and it's something like the 27th year before the term ever gets to where ain't that something? Ain't that something? You stupid about that, right? Okay, so that's pretty good. And then the biggest thing of all was the rates of return. Now how would you like to have this in your set? And they name companies now like Prudential. You heard them? The first 5 years, they lose 24.79% on one policy, a whopping 31.69%. No company's ever done this. This is the first, so this is dynamite. As far as I know, this is the first time these rates of return has been published now with names of companies, okay? Ain't that something? Ain't that exciting? So that's pretty good. So this is fabulous material, not supposed to be sales material, really super duper not supposed to be left with the client, right? But now you make sure you get the June issue and the July issue, and then you do some work on, you know, the June issue, you know, hadn't been recommended for recommended term for 50 years, and Millico's number one, and then on July, you understand, they took the best out of, to jot this down your brain, out of 2,400 companies, okay? They only took 30 or 40 or 50 policies they show in here, right? This is the best, right, of all the industry, right? And look at these rates of return now, minus 60% in 5 years. And that's something. Then also another thing they talk about in here, which is bad, is they talk about the tax benefits of whole life. Can you believe that? Sham! There ain't no cash value policy qualifies for an IRA as an example. You go compare whole life to buy term and invest the difference in an IRA. Okay. Then, of course, they do a vicious attack on A.O. Williams. Now, Bo says it ain't vicious a dadgum bit. He says it's pretty good. I don't know how he gets that. But the first thing he says, the title, A.O. Williams, right idea, wrong execution. And then we did Jess Hill. I'm so proud of you, Jess. They went to one of his meetings, and the first page of the article is real good, okay? And then they talk about, it's a 3-page article, and then they hit us with 3 things. Number one, they say that we sell expensive term. And that bothers me more than I can tell you. What they compare it with, you understand, folks, they compare our term with about the top 50 term policies in the country that nobody sells, okay? 2,400 companies out there, okay? And so they say that if you take our $200,000 policy, you know, they do the $50,000, which is an asinine comparison. Our example, our advertised policy was $164,000 when they were doing this, but they do $200,000, and they say when you take $200,000 for 15 years, we're in the middling. I reckon that means middle, you know, of the list. Well, that's pretty good. We're in the middle of the top 40 or 50 dadgum policies, right? Just think of, I got $30 million of this dadgum stuff. So they compare us just with the top ARTs that no company sells. You know, get this in your dadgum brain, 89% of all the new premiums last year was cash value insurance. You go compare our Mod 15 with Ultimate Term Rider with any term insurance policy out there, we beat 99% of them. I'm proud of it, and I like the way they talk about it. Number 2, so they talk about our expensive term, and number 2, they talk about our greenies. They make a statement that we go recruit greenies because they're gullible and they'll fall for our sales pitch. They actually say that in there. Well, that's offensive to me, because that's probably the primary reason I founded A.O. Williams, because so many of the blue bloods, like that run Consumer Report, look down their nose at people like me. And I'm like most dadgum people in this country. And I'm fed up with folks like you saying we're gullible and stupid and have to be forced to save money and crap like that. And the taxpayer can take it or leave it. Well, I mean, like I say, folks, I mean, you can get cynical, okay? And I mean, I can see what Consumer Reports did, and I can say, well, there ain't nobody in this country you can trust. You see what the politicians do, you say, well, why work? Why try to save? The country's going to stink. It's not. In spite of a lot of different things like this, this is the greatest country in the world, okay? And so let me tell you what I found out. This is sad, folks. We worked our butt off a Consumer Report. We got a policy I've established in A.O. Williams that we will talk to anybody. We got an open door policy. Our competition can come in here, we give them everything we got. They can go to an opportunity meeting, they can go to Fast Start School. We ain't got no more opportunity meetings, they go to a training meeting, okay? We give them everything we got. We ain't got no hit and nothing under the table. Everything's above board. We replace your policy. We send you a dadgum copy of our proposal, right? That's my policy I've established at A.O. Williams. And we had Consumer Report came in here, even though we knew that they used Joseph Belth as a consultant. Okay, he's our public enemy #1. He's on our competition's payroll. Okay, he writes for the competition. And so we welcome in here. We shared everything with them. Do you understand, folks? 98% of the insurance companies would not even talk to Consumer Report. And the others that did, they hide things. They just give them what they want. We gave them everything. We talked about every issue. We didn't hide one thing from them. And we found out 2 weeks ago. Now listen, I don't want this to come across defensive. This is the way I talk about everything, okay? Anytime you attack A.O. Williams, this is my family. I love it more than I can tell you. And but I don't want us to go out there and be defensive about this, because I tell every reporter that questions me about it, I said, listen, you write what you want to, and it don't make a flying sting. We're going to win with or without you. It don't make. You go say whatever you want, what you got to say, okay? And we'll overcome anything. If I thought some article like this, some half-butted outfit like this, could write something bad about A.O. Williams and destroy this company, I'd sell my stock, and I'd hit the door right now today. You understand that? If we're right, none of this stuff is going to matter. Folks, we found out after dealing with, I could not break through with Consumer Report. Every person, every bad article we've ever had written about A.O. Williams, it's written by people that never come down here. They listen to the competition. Every reporter that's ever come down here and sits down with us, we always turn their attitude around, and at worst, we get about a 75% good article, but we couldn't break through Consumer Report, and I couldn't put my hand on why. Well, we found out why. Write this name down now. Look on the first page now, and you see Executive Editor John R. Dorfman, D-O-R-F-M-A-N. We found out that he's helping this reporter they sent down here write this article. We found out that he was Joseph Bell's #1 assistant editor for 3 years. Now see, we wrote him a letter. We said, look, that wouldn't have changed anything. If you'd told us that, we didn't care where that guy was with Bell. We'd have given you everything. But see, that was just so underhanding, and so we wrote this letter. I'm going to read it to you now, and I'm going to send a copy to the RVPs. And don't leave this with clients and everything, but it's just for your information. I just want you to, it says, Dear Trudy, this is the writer. I feel that I must express to you again, this is from Barbara King, our Executive Vice President, I feel that I must express to you again the concerns I and my company have about what we consider to be a serious breach of our good faith in the research you have been conducting for Consumer Report about AOM. This letter was written, by the way, before this article came out. In fact, this article ain't even out, okay? As you know and have acknowledged, we have cooperated with you totally in your research of our company and have been completely candid with you in furnishing any information and documentation you requested concerning our company, our products, and our operation. It would be reasonable to believe that rarely, if ever, have you received such cooperation from any other company. We have such an open-door policy because, first of all, we have nothing to hide and are genuinely trying to do a good job for our clients and our people. Secondly, we cooperated in good faith because of our trust in your reputation and the reputation of Consumer Reports for neutral and unbiased reporting. Thus, we were stunned and dismayed to learn of the relationship between Consumer Report Executive Editor John Dorfman and Joseph Bell, a longtime critic of A.O. Williams, who has become the leading spokesman for our competition through his publication, The Insurance Forum. Now, if I had a subscription to Consumer Report, which I don't and never will have, I would cancel it. Okay, let me make these statements now, and then I'm going to go join Angela. See, I believe Consumer Report failed in doing the job in insurance over the last 50 years. Do you understand, folks, there's less percent term insurance sold today, out of all insurance sold, less percent today than 10 years ago? 89% last year, 1985, of all the new insurance premiums sold was cash value insurance. See, these outfits ain't the answer for the consumer's problem. We do more every dadgum day to help the consumer out there than Consumer Report does in 10 years. They've had 50 years to try to correct the problem, right? And after 50 years of being a pansy Consumer Report, they're selling bigger percentage of cash value insurance today than they ever have. A.O. Williams is the only hope for the American consumer. Folks, we let somebody destroy this wonderful company, the consumer comes out a loser in our industry like you can't believe. So I've ordered now a study of the top 100, the cheapest terms. I've hired an outside independent actuarial firm. A.O. Williams has nothing to do with it. And I've asked them to go get the top 100, and if they have time, the top 200 companies, and I will have this in 3 weeks. And I've asked them to get the cheapest they got. See, these people know insurance. These people don't know insurance, okay? So I've asked them to go get the cheapest thing in the industry and compare our consumer, our common sense term product. I'll have that to you in about 3 weeks. Folks, this year, now see, this is the only bad article we've had in a while. I want you to know there's some good things in here, okay? But this is the only bad article we've had in a long time. This year, so there's going to be some major things written about AOMs. We're going to do $90 billion this year, and they're going to get a hold of our new product. And folks, we fix to get after competition like you can't believe. But listen to this. The bottom lines, folks, the bottom line is we got the competition with by those round things there. You understand this? We got the competition right where we want them, and they can't compete with A.O. Williams. So I hope Consumer Report, I hope everything these organizations say, if they can inspire you to keep selling cash value, keep selling universal life, keep selling whole life, hallelujah. Have at it. Because every time you sell one of these things, we're going to replace it. I have people ask me all the time, say, oh, where do you get your motivation? You're financially independent? Man, you've done all these big things. Why do you stay so up? Why do you stay so powerful? Why do you stay? Because of this. If the good Lord could let me live 3 lifetimes, and I still wouldn't run out of motivation to get after them, I can tell you that. Hey, folks, always remember this. Just like Consumer Report said, they're going to be selling $200,000 of something for $2,000. We're going to be selling $200,000 of something for $250. Let's have at it all day. The way to win, folks, is to stay positive. The way to win is to stay excited. The way to win is don't worry about the competition. They can't sell term insurance. They can't sell life insurance as cheap as us. We can kill them at the kitchen table. The way to win is always get better. Ain't you happy we've come out with a new common sense term? See, we didn't know how this was going to come out. Ain't you excited we came out with the cheapest thing in the dadgum industry? Ain't you excited we came out with the RVP pool, the SVP pool? Ain't you excited we come out with a new TV network? All you got to do is always get better. Just keep getting better. Are we going to win every sale? No. Are we going to get beat every now and then? Yes. But we're going to win the war, and you're going to have a chance to be financially independent. Folks, I want to get after them like you can't believe. I want to turn this into the biggest dadgum positive in the history of A.O. Williams. Now let me join Mama on the stage. Angie?
Yeah.
What you think?
Well, I tell you what, Arch, I want to get this article, and I want to read a couple of things that were said right in the beginning, because I think that our folks need to hear some of the positive things. Number one, the title. I don't think you hit that hard enough. I think the title, what's the first thing I said to you when you told me what the title was going to be?
You said it was fantastic.
That's right. I said it was fantastic. Listen, A.O. Williams, right idea, wrong execution. So what? We don't want them to believe in our execution and like what we do every day. We're
part-timers and all that.
Absolutely. I mean, we know we know our execution is the only way to get this product to the consumer the cheapest way, and it's against all traditional companies, but so what? You know, that's okay. They acknowledge our idea. And what they do in the first few paragraphs of this thing, I think, just ought to blow us away and make us feel so proud. I know you mentioned this guy, James Hill, that was up there. They attended one of our meetings. They talk about the banners. They try to make fun of our banners and the things that we do to kind of inspire our people. But this is some of the things that they quoted James Hill as saying. He said he told the recruits that the A.O. Williams crusade was against a 100-year atrocity on the American public, the rip-off of whole life insurance. And to drive home his point, Hill told of a North Carolina family that had 3 children and only $5,000 of insurance coverage on the father. Hill sold the family a $100,000 policy, and shortly afterwards the father died. He said, I was able to take down to his widow a check for $100,000. She'll be able to invest the money, and those kids will have a shot in life. What we're doing is affecting generations to come, he said. You've got to get involved with your fellow man. You've got to look out for the welfare of man in order to help yourself. Every time we touch somebody, we're good. You win, they win, the company wins. There's some great things that they say in here, you know? And once they make that kind of statement, you know, here this guy stands up and said, we took a $5,000 policy and we took it to $100,000. I don't care what else they say through that thing. It gets down to the bottom line, what we're doing for the consumer.
And they do mention in there, you know, that our average size policy is $164,000. The average policy we replace is $34,000, you know?
And I think we have to realize, everybody out there in the A.O. Williams field force realizes, you know, that this is an article, much like Barron's. I mean, this Consumer Report writer and this guy that helped collaborate, that's a friend of Belt, you know, an associate, past associate of Belt, this is an article written by and for the competition. Okay? And we've had articles like this in the past. What does it do? It makes us mad. You attacked our integrity. We get upset. You say we're a bunch of folks that are attracted to A.O. Williams because we're not experienced. We don't know traditional insurance. We're not educated, and we're able to swallow the sales pitch whole. Well, you know, that's offensive. It makes us more committed. You know, it makes us study harder, work longer, and it's the best thing in the world that can happen to the company. You know, I'm convinced of it. And rather than find this offensive, I find it exciting. I find it sort of exhilarating, and I think it puts you on edge. It gives you a special cause, and I think it does the same thing for the people out there in the field. And I'm excited about it. You know, I just think it makes us better crusaders, makes us stronger.